just get it in, but it's not a spot very like super happy. But yeah, there's a lot of that money, but it looks of course strong. This like call 4-bet plus call. Hello guys, so today we are going to play NL200 Russian Cash. Goal will be to find one interesting spot that we can go over together then in GTO Wizard. So you can see also how I work with the program, how I how I spend my time there, how I study. So you can have a nice takeaway from the video for sure in this wizard analysis, but in general also showing you how I adjust, especially pre-flop, also post-flop of course. Here we are versus recreational, though we start directly interesting. I make a small bet, we can induce some races, some spew stuff from the recreational here, and here we can start with an overbet, but yeah, I play simple and go for a small bet. You think interesting, ace would be good, right? Could be jackpot, not ace. Can I have hands like king jack, king queen type hands? He's not folding them. I go for the thin value bet. Versus we got 2 pairs, and here we go for everything versus 2 pairs versus some straights that he has. So yeah, before with the deuce hand, where we had the pocket deuces, I think the GTO prefers the overbet strategy there. But I try to keep it simple as much as possible. On some boards you will see me splitting or mixing. I just find simple strategy still very, very useful. Open the ace-9 off. Three-bet the jacks. Yeah. Again, GTO would be probably playing also some big bets and some small bets. I just play a small bet mostly here. Keep it simple, and then now we have an easy check on the turn. We polarize to a 3/4, and weakest value would be something like ace jack, ace queen. Here we can bet or check, both fine to be honest. And here we going for a block bet makes sense, I think. And we can have some 10% bets, I'm pretty sure. So this would be one of the first spots that we could look up if we at the end, if we think this is the most interesting thing. So here we could learn something about the 10% block on the river if we apply this concept correctly. Here I like to barrel, to be honest, with the king 8 and 7-8 blocker. Yeah, could limp. I didn't pay attention on the table, to be honest. I just folded. I should look. So yeah, I need to also warm up a bit. The beginning will be a bit rusty. Fold here. fold there. And now it's coming to me also like this ace queen deuce at the beginning. Probably this should be the one of the first boards that you want to mix, start mixing. I think there the EV loss is quite significant when we range bet. So yeah, let's start playing the overbet strategy there. Here I think we can go for a raise with the backdoors here, with the king high and backdoors, but it's pretty close. Maybe a bit too loose, probably a bit too loose. So yeah, there I would also recommend, like if you're unsure about the hand, just folding it is totally fine, because the potential of you making then bigger mistakes out of position as soon as he calls is quite high. It's pretty high. So you can snowball. Here we open now with the recreation and the big blind. I want to play with him, even though there's okay, just one more aggressive guy, but the other guys look okay. Small blind looks also quite aggressive, but fine. I want to get involved with him. Sometimes I will not finish some thoughts because I lose, like, because I just have something else that distracts me. So if I have something that I didn't finish, just comment below, and I will finish my thought on that. Anyway, like via comments I can explain much deeper than also some things. Why playing it's a bit difficult to go really deep into it. This is a easy range check. They have like yeah, they hit the sport quite well. Maybe not range checking, like we can do whatever with the recreation and the big blind, and his range will be also much wider than range from a regular. So yeah, I think one more check. We don't need much protection, so totally fine. We block hands like king queen, queen jack, type hands that we want to get protection against. So like something like 9s, 10s, I would start betting small. Now on the turn, the question is, do they have Versa in this line? I think so. Like this guy can have 9s or something. Also some random hands. So I need to call one, and if he would bet big, then I would fold. And this guy looks pretty tight, very tight, this guy. So I will make a fold here. Normally we can probably call also, like versus a more aggressive guy, we could call or 4-bet, both fine. But not totally sure their the GTO range versus squeeze, to be honest. Fold the check 6 off. So like always, not much recreational players here. A lot of tighter regs. Tight regs. Here we have one bigger recreational, it seems like. Here we want to call with the recreation and the big blind. Very important to catch this kind of spots, to not autopilot the 3-bet. I think that if you do this consistently, then you miss out of a lot of value. And also like yeah, the spot is still like played very, very poorly by by the regs. I think we want to check back with this nice backdoors. I don't want to. This guy hits this board quite well. The 8s, 6s, king queen, king queen, king jack. This guy looks pretty tight. So I want to check back, and I would attack then the turn versus a capped range, let's say. This looks of course pretty strong. Looks both pretty strong. Oh, 9-8. 9-7. Okay, so that's yeah, you can really not rely too much on the VPIP numbers. It's very surprising to see their 9-7 off. We fold. But yeah, with the ace-10, stab flop would be not like terrible, but I like just attacking there the capped range then. On the turn. Here we 3-bet. If he makes it smaller, we could do something like this. We just fold, and we keep an eye on him if he's opening consistently 3x or if he has different sizings. Next time when I see him opening 2x, for example, I can estimate that his 2x range is then much weaker, let's say, than the 3x. But if he always opens 3x, then I could start also isolating this kind of hands, or like 3-betting. Fold here. What is he doing? I think this is a board where a lot of people start to mix, and this is like a nice example for a board where I don't like mixing too much. Like just keeping your life simple, I think is nice on the board. Where I think this is a spot where we can still bet. We don't want to check every board out of position. This is a very decent board for us, and we have also nice combo for it. If you are interested in a video like this where I explain why simplification is so nice, you can let me know in the comments, and I will see then. Depending on, like, if you really are interested, I can make a video on that. I think it's a very important topic, to be honest. I see a lot of players, a lot of my students also making this mistake of like overcomplicating everything, and I think it's not a good idea. Here, check 8 suited, I think, and sometimes 3-bet also, but yeah, we already took quite a bit of time. Check 8 here, even with back to flush, I think we can just fold. Check 9 suited, we would start check raising or even check calling maybe sometimes. Check 8 is not good enough to defend. Okay, here we go. Normally GTO 100 big blinds deep, it's probably a mix. Here we just start off recreation. It's like to overstep, so I like check raising a lot here, and we get in max value from king jack and flush draws, so we go quite big. I'm sorry, somehow my throat is weird. Is this big bet? This is interesting. This is also something we could look up. I'm not totally sure how wide we defend here. I think this one we need to defend, and because we have the backdoors, and then something like 6s starts folding, 7s starts folding before this one, but also this cannot really fold when he's betting also ace-5 like this, and yeah. I'll call one more. Unblocks very nicely. Bluffs. Yeah, he has ace-3 suited also, this we of course block. And probably on the river will be a frequency thing. He will have king-jack, king-queen off. But also like ace-jack, ace-queen with the... Here we overbet the turn. I hope he checks back with ace-queen or something. Ace-jack with the ace of clubs. That's nice. But this one is an interesting one, to be honest, so this would be also something to look into. Let's see if it doesn't take too long. We can make maybe even do 2 hands or 2 spots. Let's see how. Just fold. Open the jack 10 suited. I think here we can just range bet, and my hand doesn't make the worst. I'm just already thinking if we want to sometimes on like brick runouts to triple barrel this one, but probably not. We block king jack, the 10x, a lot of stuff. And we have like this jack 8, jack 9, queen 9 type hands that we can do it with. Just checking down. Interesting thing is on the river, like I don't know how much showdown equity we have. Probably with jack 10 still like enough, of course, but like lower pockets I think starting to bluff the river. And again, like if we bet the river, most of his folds come then from 10x, and we don't want to block this. I think fine played. Here we call versus the 2.5. Then here we 3-bet. On the 10 we cannot, normally it's I think here we can still range bet, and on the 10 I think we don't really go for like huge bets because he will have plenty of 10x himself. I think it's just not a great spot here to be in. We don't. He has 10s, he has jack X. The only thing that we get to fold now on the river would be something like 9s, 8s. But doesn't seem like the greatest spot. I think here we need to give up with the 3-5 in hearts, and here we just give up also. It's just like a strong range I think that we face here. Okay, that's a interesting call. I think we need to give up there sometimes. I think a good idea to not bluff. This one will be also a quick one. where we can get a quick takeaway is the interesting one, the 5-3. Maybe I did a mistake by checking there. Maybe it's always bluffing, but it felt like sometimes we need to sometimes check. Of course, after seeing this showdown, I would need to be more aggressive. If I think a bit more about it, I think it's just a bluff. Because we unblock so nicely, like king queen, queen jack type, or king jack type hands, like this king x. So we want to bluff this, of course, before this our queen jack type hands. So I think that was a mistake. I was just too focused on the here we can start bluffing. I was too focused on blocking the flush draws, but on that, like, in reality people are c-betting too often the flush draws, so not checking back too often, so we don't really block the folding range too much there. But yeah, we will look into it. This one is an interesting one, I think. Yeah, just get it in, but it's not a spot very like super happy, but yeah, there's a lot of dead money. Yes. Looked strong, but I don't think we can get away there. Just a cooler. We range bet. Probably in theory also not like a range bet because he has a 5x advantage. Check back. Okay. Anyway, we want to go then into analyzing the hands. So we can even do, I think, 2 or 3 spots. So I will prepare it in wizard and let's sit out the next big blind. Next big blind. Probably I will do 2 of them. Let's see. Call. Open the king queen off. And sometimes check raising. This one I mix like low frequency, the weak flush draws. I don't think we do much donking here, so just simple check. And now on the river I think we can go for a big bet. Probably 15, because we don't have too many bluffs, let's say. Yeah, some ace queen, ace jack with the ace of hearts. Yeah, I could c-bet myself, maybe. Where's the fish? But yeah, this is ambitious. But yeah, this call is probably better than the ace of heart call. Even if he's because then he's blocking my bluffs, kinda. And he has the ace of hearts. But yeah, I think he should size down a bit with the shorter stack. So I will prepare the spots. So here we 3-bet, big blind versus button, and we get this flop. So this first question would be just, I try to test myself always, like when I review a hand, just to test real fast if I how good my knowledge is in the spot. For example, I would estimate, okay, what is the c-bet strategy here on that flop for big blind based on the ranges and the board texture. So my guess would be here that we that the solver would start having some big bets here because it's so because there's the flush draw. because there's like a decent amount of gut shots, of course. So it's pretty dynamic. So our ace king, ace queen, I think preferred a bigger sizing. And in general, I don't think it's range betting anymore. Could be that we start checking like in GTO maybe like 20% or something, then like around 30% small and or 40% and the rest big, something like this I would imagine. Just this I have in mind, and I would simplify to a small bet, and I wouldn't expect too much EV difference. We need to see if we lose more than 1% EV. If yes, then I would need to rethink if it's worth it to develop a strategy with a big sizing, for example. So we bet anti-codes, and turn would be for me a clear check, and we would bet big, something like ace king, ace queen, I think maximum, and then I would prefer the ones without the spade. I'm blocking the calling range a bit better. The one without this with the spade would be nice checks. I'm blocking king queen, queen check, that he can start barreling. Yeah, this would be like a block I think that pops in my head. So I would check raise the ones with the spade and with the queen of spades and queen of hearts, and I would bet the ones without. That would be like my thinking. And this in terms of value, then maybe some hands like sixes, tens could start also checking sometimes, because we don't want to fold out this queen check, king queen too much, but mostly betting. In general, a lot of betting I think on the turn. And then plus would come from like queen jack, king queen type hands. Pretty easy, I think, pretty straightforward. Maybe some, I don't think there's some like very like air type things in there. I think that we delay for the river, something like jack 8, queen 8 in clubs or something, we would delay to the river. I don't think we have the equity there, or like just we should not bet I think on the turn, but could be wrong. Maybe we are surprised which kind of hands we should barrel on the turn. That would be one thing to investigate. And then river, I had the strong urge to block bet, but not 1/3. So this can be a takeaway for you, to start implementing the 10% bet, which is used very often from the solver, and it's very useful. For example, with this 10%, he would need to start now bluffing. Let's say he has king queen or queen jack, or like 5s or 6x. This kind of hands would need to turn now into a bluff. Depending on the villain that you face, I would be careful to not for example, I know someone is like more on the tight side, I can do it like more value heavy, and then if someone is like more like spacy, let's say, then we can induce a bit more, so you can play around there a bit. But if you have no clue about the villain, then just sticking to a GTO approach I think is best. So I would guess that our hand is, I think, always a block, 10% block, I would imagine. Maybe it's even a 1/3, but I don't think on the 7 spades. It's I think on the 3 of clubs it would be a 1/3. On this card it would be a 10%. So I go through everything, like how I think the spot looks like, and then I just look where am I wrong, and yeah, where I need to improve my understanding. So let's see. That's the other hand. So we have like a button open, and the big blind 3-bets this range in GTO, which is reasonable. Like most people under 3-bet. The big blind, of course, still button call, and the flop comes ace 10 6. Oh, suits are wrong. 10 6. Okay. Then I go always in the AI solve. I don't want to study with like I always use the simplified trees, let's say. So here we see already it prefers, if it just has one sizing, it prefers the big sizing, which is interesting. We can compare now the EV, but yeah, this was like what I kind of expected, that we have like a decent amount of big bets. But if you would change it, let's say, let's see, the range EV is now for the small blind 53 to 8, and then when we change it to multiple sizing, so 25, and at first I want to see what it does if it has multiple sizings to choose from, so like a small and a big one. I think then it starts betting quite very frequently. Not so much like I thought, so more checking than I was expecting. I expected like 20, 30, something like this, but there's a bit more, so good to know. But anyway, now we compare the 53.41 to the simplified one, just the range bet. 53.41, 34, yeah, and it's like 6 something, so totally fine. And I would never, like, I would recommend you to not play strategy only because the solver says to do it. Let's say if you want to make up a strategy, then have reasons to do it. So really look into unnatural defense, and like in which way do you provoke the biggest mistakes, kind of. This is my approach, let's say. How do I put the villain into a shitty spot? And how do I keep my life simple? So it needs to be also like simple to implement it for me, for myself, that I don't make big mistakes, of course. So we bet, and he defends. Normally I would also make an estimation what he should defend, like a lot of estimations, but then it takes too long. Like I said, we can make a deep analysis in an extra video call. Then comes the what came the I don't remember now, foreign hearts, and I would expect a high frequency, like 28 or like 30%. I make like just now a guess percentage wise how much I expect to still barrel the turn. 4 of hearts brings a decent amount of equity to villains like queen jack, king queen, 7-8 in hearts, 9-8 in hearts. So it's not the worst card for villain, but also like it doesn't hit him like crazy good. So I think 25 to 30%, or like 30% barreling, 34, okay. Because we need to consider that we also like are range betting on the flop, so then we polarize, low frequency turn barrel, and it's quite easy then to play the turn strategy, which is nice. And it's good that we was correct with the 10s. 6s is always betting, but 10s is checking a lot. And then I wanted to check the ace queen off, this kind of blocker thing that popped into my head, like that we check the ones with the heart and the queen of heart and queen of spade, which is true. No, like just the queen of spades, so nothing to worry about too much there. So it was nothing too so interesting that, so I can just ignore this. If I have more time, then I could investigate why I was wrong, but yeah, this would take not too much time. And yeah, bet. And the main thing that we want to find out is how should he react, or like, is there a 10% bet on the river? And I think so. Let's see, 7 of spades, and now we just have the 25 and all in, but the solver has only two to choose from, 2 sizings. If we give him also a 10%, let's see, maybe I'm wrong in the spot. Yes, I'm wrong in this spot, so that's also nice to know that we. But why we? Sorry, I made a mistake. I went on bet. Okay, then this explains it a bit. Okay, so if we go check, then it looks like this. Then we have all the jacks, queens type hands. Okay, and then we give him 10%. Let's give him like a multiple sizing, 75. and maybe even like, or like 60, 70, 75 is fine. Should be it, yeah. Should be fine. We just want to see if the 10% is played. Let's give it also something else. So the nice thing is you can play around and you get super fast results. So let's go a bit closer to the 10 that we like see which kind of, if it's like preferring maybe 30 and before 10%. So normally most people use the 30% block, but I think here 10% is very nice. Okay, so it's using some hands for the 10%, and now we can see like which kind of hands. So mostly queens, kings. So these are the hands that it's using 10%. Jacks not so much anymore, but with the spade, yes, it's fine. But the 1/3 would not be good anymore. So you can see that 10% is like kind of the same like check. But 1/3 would be overplayed, and my guess would be on the 7 of or like on the 3 of clubs. I think then it's good enough to block 1/3. Then we are yeah, then we see already that we can go wider for the 1/3, because villain will have less value that he can raise on the river. So in general he can just raise less than, because he has less value, he can put less pressure on us when we block, so we can just block bigger, and this has I think just more equity in this line. Okay, so it's interesting. So there I would just recommend like trying to figure out spots by yourself when you feel like it's a 10% instead of a 30%, and look also a lot into like how villains should react to it, because it's very important to know how villain should react. So let's say here we put the 10% again, the 30 and the 75. Okay, this would be like kind of like a strategy that I would play. So like all in, yeah, mostly 10%, 1/3, and it's not using like a lot of all ins, which is interesting. I don't know. Makes sense. It's the flush is there, so all in is not a thing, of course. But yeah, so 10%. My recommendation is to make them guesses how wide should villain react. So because it's an unusual sizing, people will make pretty big mistakes. I think they will be pretty unbalanced, but you need to be able to tell like in which direction he will go. Some people are going too aggressive, some people are too passive versus it. For example, we see here King Jack needs to call, King Jack needs to go like raise, King Queen. We put this kind of hands into a tough spot. 10x needs to start, no, it's just a flush. Yeah, like basically almost no folds. So as soon he starts not raising enough and folding a bit too much, the main thing is for the thin value is that he's not starting to raise too much. If he does so, then we need to read a check to him. So, but I think in this spot it's fine versus the particular player. If I know that I play versus a more aggro player, then I need to be a bit careful with this 10%. You can do also something fancy and like already anticipate villain to over raise your 10%, and then you can just trap him just by blocking and then calling off the raise. This is also a very nice play versus the right opponents, let's say. There's also a recommendation to put this in your arsenal, let's say, to block very small and versus like the right players, the players where you think they are like over aggro, and then you get a lot of extra EV by that instead of just checking. Because if you just check, he just checks back hands like 10x or like yeah, the 7x or like hands that can just show down. But in this line, when you pay 10%, they can start turning it into a bluff way too aggro. So interesting spot. I think we are already we took quite a bit of time, so let's keep it very brief here. We wanted to know if 5-3 is a bet on the river. I think I made a mistake, so let's check it. I'm pretty sure I made a mistake by checking the river. It was 5-3, and so yeah, like button open, we call, flop goes check check. Totally fine for him to play a polarized strategy on the flop, but I don't mind also like simplifying still, especially when you're like pretty new, or like when you don't have a lot of experience. I would really recommend keeping it very simple. One reason that I can give is that you keep the amount of trees that you open up way smaller, so therefore you get the amount of time that you need to get good and solid, you cut down by a lot when you simplify. So the XRAV, even if you lose 1%, 1.5 on the flop, I think especially as someone who has not so much experience, is very important, the simplification, to just get much faster solid, let's say. But yeah, just one of many reasons. Like I said, I can make an extra video on that. If you're interested, just let me know in the comment section. And a turn I bet 3/4. There, I think it's I could imagine a block bet and a 3/4, but not really over betting, because he has a lot of 10x in the check back. So I cannot imagine us having over bets. I would be surprised. So 3/4 and block, I think, would be a fine strategy. Block mostly with weaker ace-x, and or no, like even weaker ace-x can. Maybe we just have the 3/4. Not totally sure. Probably we just have the 3/4 because the 10 is quite good for him. And on the 8 of diamonds, I was just the concept of like that I need to give up my flush draw sometimes. Busted flush draw came into my head, so I decided to check sometimes. But I think it's wrong here, because most of his flush draws will bet the flop. So therefore we are unblocking quite nicely the folding range. If you think also something like 3s and 5s with a heart is more likely to bet the flop, so in his check back range it's more likely to have that he has 5s and 3s without a heart, so I don't block these ones, and this should be part of his folding range, like in different range, I think. So I think he could just overbet the river with the sand. Yes, and 3/4 and overbet, I think I can imagine villain like the solver using 3/4 for like something like ace 9 plus, ace 8 plus, and or even like lower ace 7, ace 6 could be in there, and just ace x, and then overbet with, of course, 10x plus. So let's look into it. Interesting one. But like I said, we need to do a bit quicker to not make the video too long. So check, and we make again the AI solve. Okay, check, and yeah, he will play kind of the strategy. Let's look. 4s, 3s with the heart is betting, the other ones are checking. So the idea of like him having the 5s, 3s without a heart in the check back more often is correct as thought. So check back, and turn comes the 10 of spades. We want to know which sizings we use. Guess was 3/4. Solver likes 40%, but that's not really a sizing that I use in my game plan, so I give him 30 and 75, and the overbet. Let's see, but I don't think we use the overbet. I would be surprised. Maybe like very low frequency, but I don't think so, because he opens up to have like a lot of that's interesting. Before we had a much higher betting frequency, or not? Or was it anyway low? But yeah, it's like a very low frequency bet on the turn, because the 10 is so good for him. When he checks back, the 10 is very good. so we go for the 3/4 and not always the 3/5, so it's easy to over bluff there, to be honest. In my shoes, I think it's hard for population to go for like to find checks with 5/4, 5/4, 3, 3/5 here, and a bunch of flush draws. So probably quite easy to overbluff. That's one thing that I take away here. Okay, so we need to be careful on the 10, but I picked up on it, but probably I would bet it up too often, the 3/5, 4/5. One other thing is we could put it in the check raise. This I want to just look real fast the reaction. If the check raise gives some unnatural defense, yes, like queens, kings, ace x gets indifferent, so I like the check raise. 8, a7. If I would start seeing folding the 10x, then I don't like the check raise, but this I like to see here. Check raise seems like even the better line, which I didn't think, to be honest, about it, but I need to think about it because it's under bluffed line per population, so you having there more bluffs is, I think, a good idea. So call, and river comes the 8, I think. Yes, 8, and the big blind is checking 5/3. Okay, interesting. So we should give up, which is nice. So like it was not wrong, but in theory again. So I don't like it if I see something that, for example, I see him overfolding. Let's say there's an overbet. Not sure if my guess was that we use overbets with 10x, but mostly use the 3/4. Okay, and let's see, versus 3/4, I think his king 4 is very ambitious, but maybe not bad. I would guess like king jack, king queen gets indifferent, king 4 difficult, but if you guess that I'm over bluffing this kind of hands, like that I'm easy to over bluff in the spot, which is, to be honest, pretty easy, that you can over bluff here, then I like his call, to be honest. So bet, and this king 4 is not even there anymore on the turn, so yeah. But like I said, 4s, 5s need to fully fold. Interesting. Ace X needs to start folding. This is like this would be a spot that I need to remember where it's. I really like my check back now. If I see, especially when I see the like not check back but check. When I see this reaction, I really like it. I wouldn't expect so much folds here. Ace X, I would not imagine that he should fold so much Ace X. But yeah, we have very strong. If you imagine, we just step the turn with like a very narrow range here. So then it of course kind of makes sense. But population will be over bluffing this line, I'm pretty sure. So his call is interesting. I wouldn't judge it bad. Because if you note lock that, again, like we don't have the time to go now too deep into it, but there are a lot of things that I would like to investigate more, like making a node lock here, but for a future video then. So this is it for this video. I hope yeah, you could take away some things. For sure I learned something, and if you have some other hands that you would like me to review, and then I can also go more in depth, I can make an extra video, just write me in the comments. If you don't want to miss it, then of course would be nice to like and subscribe. And yeah, like next I also plan on probably next week I will upload footage review of my student. He will play some NL100 on stars, so also this, like if you don't want to miss it, just subscribe, and see you to the next video. Thank you and good luck on the tables. Bye bye.